Hi, I'm Tom Munoz, Emergency Management Coordinator and Homeland Security Director for the City of Texas City. Experts are predicting a very active hurricane season this year, so please don't wait, act now, and get ready. And here's how. Gather essential hurricane supplies, have enough food and water for each person in your household for at least 3 days. Fill your prescriptions and have medicine on hand. Radios, batteries, and phone chargers are also must-haves. Gas up your vehicle and have cash on hand. Pack facial coverings and hand sanitizer. Have a plan for your family members, and don't forget your pets. Strengthen your home as much as possible while you still have time. Before hurricane season, trim trees on your property to prevent any electrical outage. Stay informed. To make sure you receive our local Tech City alerts, please register at mytcalerts.com. Once again, mytcalerts.com. Stay tuned to our Emergency Management Facebook for more videos on how to win giveaways. To get further information on hurricane safety, please visit City Hall or the Moore Memorial Public Library to get a copy of the Galveston County Emergency and Disaster Guide. Thank you, and please stay safe.
Hello, Tom.
Morning.
I know you're busy, but do you have 90 seconds?
Absolutely.
As the Emergency Management Director, you wear many hats. You prepare and plan for weather events and chemical disaster situations. Did I miss something?
Yeah, write grants, messages for the citizens, PIO, a lot of stuff.
What's one thing in your office you're the most proud of?
Proud of my family pictures, and I'm also proud of some medals that were awarded to me by the Houston Marathon Committee for some planning we did together.
Nice. You stayed here for over 7 days during Hurricane Harvey.
Yes.
Who did you work closely with to keep Texas City
All the
safe?
departments, great team effort.
As a coastal community, how lucky are we to have the levee and the pump stations?
Very lucky.
Do you, Tom, turn on the pumps?
I got an answer for that.
No.
Message received. With the large industrial base in Texas City, you also work hand in hand with the plants, right?
Absolutely.
How can someone learn about the sirens and or the water pumps?
Yeah, go to our Facebook. We do have 2 videos that we made.
Is it true you're essentially on call for 24/7?
Yes.
Do you ever get a full night's rest?
Yeah, I do.
How are you planning for the growth of the Texas City port within the next few years?
Planning.
Is it true you were in the Coast Guard?
Yes, I retired as a commander from the Coast Guard, and my last deployment was Puerto Rico.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Last question, can you tell residents the benefits of signing up for the Everbridge notifications?
Yeah, you'll be getting our emergency messages as soon as we get them, or we develop those. So you'll be getting if anything should happen in the city.
Awesome. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Tom Munoz, Emergency Management Coordinator and Homeland Security Director for the City of Texas City. Experts are predicting a very active hurricane season this year, so please don't wait, act now, and get ready. And here's how. Gather essential hurricane supplies, have enough food and water for each person in your household for at least 3 days. Fill your prescriptions and have medicine on hand. Radio Hi, I'm Tom Munoz, Emergency Management Coordinator and Homeland Security Director for the City of Texas City. Experts are predicting a very active hurricane season this year, so please don't wait, act now, and get ready. And here's how. Gather essential hurricane supplies. Have enough food and water for each person in your household for at least 3 days. Fill your prescriptions and have medicine on hand. Radios, batteries, and phone chargers are also must-haves. Gas up your vehicle and have cash on hand. Pack facial coverings and hand sanitizer. Have a plan for your family members, and don't forget your pets. Strengthen your home as much as possible while you still have time. Before hurricane season, trim trees on your property to prevent any electrical outage. Stay informed. To make sure you receive our local Tech City alerts, please register at mytcalerts.com. Once again, mytcalerts.com. Stay tuned to our Emergency Management Facebook for more videos on how to win giveaways. To get further information on hurricane safety, please visit City Hall or the Moore Memorial Public Library to get a copy of the Galveston County Emergency and Disaster Guide. Thank you, and please stay safe.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Friday. My name is Darcy. Our special guest today is Tom Munoz. He is the Emergency Management and Homeland Security Director for the City of Texas City. Thank you for joining us today, Tom. If you have a question for Tom, all you have to do is leave it in the comments, and one of you, or three of you, excuse me, will win a $50 gift card from Amazon, and one lucky winner will get an HP Chromebook laptop. So just comment away. Are you ready?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I know you've worked for the City of Texas City for 5 years, but people might not know at home that you were also on the ground during Hurricane Katrina, and you worked in the Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico. How did you get into emergency management? What is your background?
So I guess if you look at my whole career, so I was with the Houston Fire Department. Prior to coming here, I rose up to Assistant Chief of Homeland Security and Planning. But simultaneously, I had stayed in the Coast Guard Reserves, and in there, I rose up to the rank of commander there. And during my tenure with the Coast Guard, I responded to Katrina, where I was the Deputy Incident Commander over their vessel and salvage debris removal for 1,200 nautical miles, along with everything else. And then my last deployment before retirement was with Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico. So that was a huge eye-opener for me to see how things, it was totally different what I had ever experienced before.
So as the storm begins to form and is heading our way, how far ahead as a city do we begin to monitor?
Good question. So historically, I start looking out approximately 120 hours out. That's always been one of the standards that we follow. Obviously, patterns in the weather change continuously. A good example was Hurricane Harvey. But for us, we start looking at our hurricane plan, myself at our hurricane plan, start coordinating with our city leaders, our stakeholders. And so we start looking 120 hours out. And as it gets closer, obviously, the tempo is going to either go up or down. But we always, we will breathe easier when it makes landfall for sure.
Right. In the event Texas City has to evacuate, how can we evacuate a city of 50,000 plus residents when most of the roadways out of town are like under construction or things like that?
So we are starting to plan, and we always have through the whole year. For example, on Monday, we are having an evacuation drill. The logistics behind it, what are we doing? We've been coordinating with the county and obviously the state on the evacuation process. And when I say evacuation process, there's two routes. Obviously, the bus that people will take in the event they're not able to go to a private vehicle, or there's a private vehicle. What we're working on right now is the hub. We have a hub of embarkation here in the city of Tech City. And what that means, other citizens from other cities will arrive here if they want to take the evacuation route through bus. But we're testing all that. Obviously, technology is a huge piece and all that. And we've been meeting with state officials on the logistics that are going to be needed. We do have the logistics. However, as anything else, when it involves technology, it's always a great idea to have a plan B and a plan C. So with that said, when we start talking evacuations, obviously it's going to be looking at the impact of the weather, what is going to take place. Obviously, it's through a county judge process, the city in itself. So there's all these factors that have to take place. the good question that you asked was the construction. So we
Right.
take that into account. Obviously, we see what's going on in the construction here in the city of Texas City and Highway 45. So we look at those evacuation routes as well to do that. So, and that adds time to our decision-making
Right.
process.
And you'll make sure that we get the order long before
Yes,
we have enough time to get out.
absolutely, absolutely.
Good. Can you tell me who is in the situation room when a storm approaches? I know it's not just you. There's a lot of other city leaders who are also in there.
So our unified command is going to consist of, obviously, Mayor Johnson. We'll have Fire Chief Stanton or a representative from the police department, Chief Zackrell, Chief Rubio, who are the fire department personnel, or a representative, a county official. The other piece we also have is the Coast Guard, who's embedded in this. Public Works is involved in it. So we have, and then we'll have the continuous conversations and teleconferences with our industrial partners to make sure that their infrastructure is protected. And part of that system involves us reaching out to our 10 nursing homes and our senior living facilities and dialysis centers. So there's a lot of activity going on.
There is a lot.
A lot of activity.
And just being behind the scenes with the communications team, I didn't realize how often y'all communicate with our National Weather Service, which obviously that's important. But can you talk about how many calls a day y'all get from these?
So on the
guys?
average, they'll plan a call at 10 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and then if it's really one of those, so they'll either
Right.
have one at midnight. Now, the calls in between us, like the county officials, ourselves. So a good average teleconference call on a like say Harvey, for example, averaging like 8 to 9, 10 a day that we
Wow.
were averaging. But the National Weather Service, with Dan Riley and his crew, they do an amazing job on keeping us informed and setting up those. And then of course there's the state, operations center calls as well. So the two ones that you're going to count is county, state, and National Weather Service, and then the city. So a lot of talking
All day
on the phone
long.
all day long,
All day long.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier about the EOC, and I know y'all used to be located in the police department, and now you have a new building. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we moved in back in January. We started moving in. It's located at 1415 33rd Street, right behind Carlos Garza Park, or in front of Carlos Garza Park, I should say. We're sharing the building with the Gulf Coast Transit, which is turned out to be really convenient for evacuation
Yeah, it's
purposes,
perfect.
and the freeze. They were very instrumental in safety and keeping people safe. So we have that. Fortunately, thanks to the support from our city leadership, Mayor Johnson and commissioners, we did invest some money in the building to have the latest technology through Robert Turner, who's done an amazing job with us, making sure that we have the latest equipment to give me the situational awareness that's going outside, which allows for the decision-making process. So we have cameras on the dike, cameras on the industrial side. We have cameras, he's working on cameras on the pump stations, because a lot of times we got to see, okay, what are the pumps doing?
Right.
And get some visibility when you're stuck inside a building for 24 hours
Yes.
without being able to go outside. So yeah, it's
Absolutely.
been very good. So we have a big conference room, a great EOC room. So it's good working space now.
Great. I just wanted to remind our viewers that if you want to be eligible to win one of the three $50 Amazon gift cards we have, please comment a question and like this video, and you could also have a chance to win the HP Chromebook laptop. So ask all your questions. We got Tom Munoz here, the Emergency Management Coordinator for the City of Texas City. I know as a coastal city, we are truly very blessed to have the protection of our levee and our pump stations. What more is being done to aid the flood-prone neighborhoods in town?
So one of the good things, the mitigation piece that we're doing, I think you've heard in the last 2 weeks, the GLO, the Governor's Land Office, we put in for a grant, a great team process, myself and Jack Harrelson from Public Works, the engineering group. We all worked on a grant that was about 2.5-year process, and it was a competitive grant, so that's why a lot of work went into it. And we were awarded $14.9 million for some projects that will allow the drainage to improve. It's also an improvement on the pump systems that we have. And we are waiting for another grant that I put in for about the same time frame. And this one is we're excited about. It's a supplemental grant through the GLO, of course.
Okay.
And it's going to be allow us to put a pump system over the levee from Moses Lake, and it'll pump into the bay. So
What?
we're not, the gate system sometimes we're dependent on tides and so forth. So this will eliminate and increase the safety and obviously minimize the flooding. So it's really, we're excited
That's
about
awesome.
along with other drainage projects throughout the
Right.
city, so yeah, we're looking really good with that, so we're excited about that and minimize some of the drainage. And like you said, it is in my opinion, a world-class pump system. If you look at Harvey, within 12 hours when we were doing our state calls, I was able to tell the state, well, the city's open now as compared to other cities. You looked at Hearst
Right.
County and everybody else, people were still flooded for days.
Yeah.
And our citizens were able to do that. There was flooding, but not standing water as there was like in other cities. So yeah, really, those guys do an amazing job.
Well, that's amazing. Thank you for your hard work getting the grant and everything.
It was a lot. It was a great team
That's
effort.
exciting.
Great team effort.
So speaking of the pumps, do you start the pumps?
I don't start the pumps. I get calls saying to start the pumps. I will tell you that we're in constant contact. What I will tell you is Public Works and the pump engineers, once the storm starts coming, you asked earlier, they start spending the night there. They start making sure that the pumps are up and running, maintained, a beautiful job out there. They make sure that the system is that, they give us the readings to start seeing what's happening.
Right.
So those gentlemen do an amazing job. They sit there 24/7. They sleep there. So, but I do get calls saying to turn on the pumps. I will tell you that I don't turn on the pumps. I do. I
Like,
will
that's
tell
not
you
me.
that we work together. But yeah, when I first got here, it was like turn on the pumps, and that was the wrong
Yes.
question. I wish I had that authority, but no, these guys do a great job. They did an amazing job. They're on it all the time.
When a storm is approaching, I know we always tell people to be weather aware, and you can follow our social media pages and things like that. But we did have a viewer ask, how do I sign up for updates? How can we get Tech
Great.
City specific alerts?
So we have the mytcalerts.com, which is what we really recommend. It's our Everbridge system. You'll be getting that call out that allows you to get the information, the updates from us. I know that your organization, your division does an amazing job with the social media. There's also, they can call the STEER or 211 and register
Okay.
there and let them know this is what's happening.
Okay.
If they're not able to, if they need help, assistance evacuating for whatever reason, that's what they're going to do. So 2 formats. If we want to know who's going to need help, first of all, and then there's my TC alerts that they can register on, which is on our webpage. That,
Yes.
they could just click in and register. That way they get all the emergency updates through us, any community updates. Harvey, we did about 12 of those. Hey, this is what's happening. This is what's going on. And that allows us to work with our community partners for any type of long-term recovery. Hey, this is where you might have to go to get your assistance needed, your public assistance, for any flooding, those type
Right.
of things. So I would really highly recommend that's what they do to get that.
Okay. Thank you. There was a tornado in January this year. I'm sure you're aware that had an impact on the Tradewind Apartments, and a couple of the residents were displaced. Can you speak about the wonderful community organizations we have in Texas City that will always back us up in times of disaster?
That is one thing that we're very fortunate, that I'm very fortunate to be able to work with some great organizations that you're able to call. The Freeze, also with the Freeze and the tornado. So obviously with United Ways, the mainland community partners, the long-term recovery groups,
Yes.
Red Cross, Salvation Army, the church is doing an amazing job helping us. And it was this great community piece that we worked together, not only during the tornado, but the Freeze was, you saw them at their best on, helping, working together in an organized fashion to help the community, not only help them with housing. We were able to, move all those individuals that were impacted at the trade winds. Within less than 12 hours, they had housing, they had food, they had the comfort they needed. And then you
Right.
have the long-term recovery groups with the mainland community partners, United Way, Salvation Army helping them, the Red Cross with the finances that sometimes are needed. And then the other thing, too, is that we have some great community partners. You have Gulf Coast Centers, which are the mental health authority for the county.
Okay.
You have these individuals that, during COVID, we had COVID, then you're hit with a tornado, then you're hit with a freeze.
Right.
That causes a lot of stress in
That
people. And that's
certainly
one thing
does.
we forget. Been fortunate to work with individuals like Amanda Growler from Gulf Coast, Melissa Meadows, those people that really support that one piece we tend to forget, which is part of the recovery process. It's a great community to work with.
I'm glad you brought up the recovery process. Oftentimes we don't talk about the aftermath of a storm. And I know you mentioned there is a long-term recovery group. Where can people find out more information about that group?
Glad you asked. We have that on our webpage. We have that. You have Linda Bettis there. We work with, you've done a great job, thank you, on just making sure that people get that information. And, when we say long-term recovery, there is a process that we tend to forget. Some things I concentrate on at first when I see a storm coming, life safety. That's, the first thing. Then stabilizing the incident and property preservation. But then there's also the human compassion piece, which is where they come in. And having to deal with FEMA applications, paperwork.
Right.
Sometimes you've lost everything. These are the individuals that help you through that process on how to just fill out the basic paperwork. Sometimes
Yes.
it could be complicated. And if you put the wrong answer, it gets kicked out.
Absolutely.
So these are the experts, these are the experts.
And they verify that these are trusted organizations. These aren't
Yes.
somebody who just came out, oh, we saw a hurricane hit your community, I'm going to make up this organization. And,
Yeah, no,
you know.
you're right. We had a great organization move into town, 4B, which is a Christian-based, and they help, in any time of disasters, with any housings, those type of issues, repairs, just really Christian-based, that we're very fortunate to have.
Okay, we had a viewer ask, how many shuttle buses do we have on standby for a hurricane shuttling? And is it a first come, first serve type basis, or do people register?
So that's a very, very good question. So I mentioned the transit authority, right? And so right now, talking to them, they have 11 buses that we could start using. Now that's just here that we're able to get.
Okay.
We do have an MOU with the school district, Dr. Duarte and her school district. And every year, we do have some buses that we could utilize that. And then there's the state buses. So once again, it depends on the number of people evacuating.
Right.
And then now what's going to be interesting this year is COVID's still, around, right? So with that said, your typical bus that might hold 50 people, state standards now half of that. So, and they say half, but then they tell us 20. So that's,
Yeah.
I'm not, a mathematician, but I do know the 20,
am
that
I.
50,
Yes.
50 divided
Yeah.
by 2 by half is,
Yeah.
25, but they said
Exactly.
20. And so, yeah, we have those on standby that when we start seeing the storm coming, that's when we start doing the requests from the state. But at the same time, I'm starting to talk to our community partners
Okay.
and start getting those logistics. We're very
Numbers.
fortunate. We have George Fuller that works for the city, and he does like a great job. Just, we start coordinating those assets. So it's a lot of moving parts. And the other part, too, is we have 10 nursing homes. So that's the other logistical piece,
Right.
because some people might be bedridden. So it's not as easy as saying get in a bus and go. They have medical needs, O2 or whatever the situation might be. So that's also the other piece that we work really hard with,
If we needed to evacuate, do they just show up to the bus center?
They show up to the bus center and bring their IDs, bring
Okay.
any of the important information. And that's what we're doing on Monday. We're going to test the system, see,
Okay.
we're going to have some people
Do some
volunteer.
drills.
Some drills. How good is the new logistics system that the state has? And if that fails, plan B, to register the basic information. And then we'll coordinate with the state, see where they're going to be taken, what shelters. The other piece we're working on is called a point-to-point, meaning that instead of going through a state hub, we'll make arrangements with another city and take them there. That the difficult part is, once again, how many people are evacuating, what are the needs, and those are
Right.
the things that we have.
Right.
So, yeah, start showing up when we start putting the message out, and we'll start making sure that you're registered. Number one question people ask, can I bring my pets?
Yeah.
So the answer is yes, okay? Now, there is limits to everything. We're not expecting an 80-pound dog,
Right.
but bring its cage with you. And that's the other thing. When those times arise, we also work with our animal control officers. Amazing job. I have to
Yes.
tell you that Amy and that group and everybody does an amazing job.
We had
with
Amy in here on Tuesday, and you could
amazing.
just see her passion
Her
for what she
passion,
does.
exactly, her passion. and doing what she does. So we coordinate together with them too, and making sure that they have everything they need. Because people are attached to their animals.
Yeah, their
and that's
family.
a very hard part. But like I say, there is a limit. There is a limit.
Yes.
I wish we could do more, but there's got to be limits.
Makes sense.
But I have seen it where during Harvey, people had big pets, and Amy was and her crew.
Right.
They were checking up on that animal, making sure they
Yes.
were safe. So that just an
She says they
amazing
don't
job.
leave.
They don't. No,
They
no,
stay.
no. They stay. Yeah, she'll stay. Yeah, she'll stay.
So, being that Texas City is such an industrial town, who checks in and makes sure that like everything at the plant is going okay in case of a hurricane?
So that'll be me. We'll start setting up the industrial coordination calls with them, and I will tell you that industry, we're very fortunate. We have a great relationship. We have our industrial calls. Just hey, what's happening? Because if you look at the homeland piece, that is a critical infrastructure. I don't know if some people might not know, we produce 13% of the nation's fuel here. And so we have all that we have to take care of, along with Texas, New Mexico, and the electricity part and so forth. So we have all this critical infrastructure that we start having these calls, along not only with industry. I start having calls with the nursing homes, and the dialysis centers, and the hospitals. Like, okay, what is happening?
Right.
What are your needs? Do you have any? And then we start making contact, so they'll know that at the end of the day, I'm a civil servant. We're civil servants, and I work for the city, and I have to make sure that they know that we're here for them
Right.
in time of disaster.
I think that gives some people peace of mind to know that y'all are checking in on everybody.
Yes, and those are the things of
Thank you.
vulnerable groups. We work with Dennis Harrison in the Parks Department, Lenore Mendez or Mata, with the seniors there, and then we have to make sure that they get the message to
Right.
working with the church, faith-based groups in the churches to make sure that they're getting it. There's a misconception that everybody's on Facebook, and it's I
Right.
shouldn't be talking about Facebook, but not
Yeah.
everybody gets their messages
It's
the
true,
same
though.
way. Yeah,
It's true.
so we have to make sure that everybody's getting the message
Right.
and are protected and safe.
Okay. Thank you so much. Is there anything else that you wanted to add, or you want to talk about this book that you got right here?
We do have the Galveston County Emergency Disaster Guidebook. It's got some great information on it. What to do. One of the things too that we tend to forget is during hurricane season, we do have like riptides increase, current undertow, and heat the summer. So this book gives you some great information on how to stay safe from when you're out in the beach or the water, how to stay safe when it's out in the heat,
and
those type of
they
things.
can pick up copies of this at the library and
like City Hall.
yes.
City
Okay.
Hall Library.
Okay.
They have great stuff. We also going to provide coloring books for the children.
What?
Yeah, we'll be providing coloring
Man.
books. We're working on getting crayons. We're working on coloring books for the
Nice.
kids. Yeah, we're working on that, so it's great.
I love it. Thank you so much, Tom, for your
Thank you.
time.
Please stay safe and know that we're here for you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys.